Tomoe Gozen, the samurai woman who vanished from history. History tells us that the samurai were men. That is the story we are taught, repeated so often it feels unbreakable. But in the late 12th century, on blood-soaked fields during the Jinpei War, a contradiction appeared. Her name was Tomoe Gozen. She rode into battle not as a symbol, not as a myth, but as a commander. Chroniclers described her as terrifyingly strong, impossibly skilled, and devastatingly intelligent. And yet, after the war ended, she vanished. No grave, no verified death, no farewell. This is where our mystery begins. Tomoe Gozen did not fight beside samurai. She was one. Serving Minamoto no Yoshinaka, she led troops, challenged elite warriors, and collected enemy heads, a privilege reserved only for the most trusted fighters. One record claims she defeated a man renowned across provinces. Another claims she decapitated him in single combat. But here's the question historians rarely ask. Why were these details recorded if she was meant to be forgotten? After Yoshinaka's defeat, Tomoe Gozen disappears. Some say she died in battle. Others claim she became a nun. A few whisper something far more unsettling. That she lived in a society that rewrote itself under new power. A woman who proved herself equal, or superior, to men was dangerous. Not because she fought, but because she shattered the narrative. Tomoe Gozen is not just a historical figure. She is a question. Who decides what is remembered? Who decides what is erased? And how many Tomoe Gozens were lost forever because their existence was inconvenient? Her story survives, not because history allowed it, but because it failed to fully destroy it. And the most terrifying possibility is this: if Tomoe Gozen existed once, she may not have been the only one. Tomoe Gozen is almost always depicted with a naginata. This is no coincidence, and it is not symbolic fantasy. The naginata was not a woman's weapon, as modern myths claim. It was a battlefield clearing instrument, designed to control space, to dismount cavalry, and to break formations. Only warriors trained beyond the ordinary were trusted with it. So why was Tomoe not just carrying one, but mastering it? Because she was trained as a samurai first, and identified as a woman second. That alone places her outside the social logic of her time. History is not written by the victorious. It is written by the comfortable. After the Jinpei War, power demanded stability. Stability demanded simplicity. And simplicity demanded that Tomoe Gozen disappear. A woman who commanded men, defeated heroes, and survived chaos was not useful anymore. She was dangerous evidence, so her ending was fragmented, contradictory, intentionally unclear. One popular theory claims Tomoe Gozen became a nun. It sounds peaceful, respectable, safe, but consider this. In medieval Japan, becoming a nun was also a method of political erasure. A way to neutralize someone without killing them. If Tomoe lived as a nun, she did not surrender. She was hidden. What if Tomoe Gozen was not an exception? What if she was merely the one who survived long enough to be recorded? How many women fought, commanded, and died? Unnamed? How many stories were never allowed ink? Tomoe Gozen terrifies historians not because she existed, but because she suggests a pattern. Centuries have passed, yet Tomoe Gozen refuses to stay buried. She appears in literature, drama, whispers, and unanswered footnotes. Every time history tries to close her story, something doesn't fit. That is the mark of a suppressed truth. And here is the final, unsettling thought. If history erased Tomoe Gozen once, it can do it again. The samurai are remembered through Bushido, the code of honor, loyalty, courage, death before dishonor. Tomoe Gozen embodied all of it. And yet, Bushido never made room for her. Not because she lacked honor, but because she exposed a flaw. A system that preached merit, yet quietly enforced gender. Her existence proved that the code was never as pure as legend claimed. In the West, history loves rebels. Those who challenge systems. Those who expose hidden rules. Tomoe Gozen belongs among them. Not as a feminist symbol imposed by modern values, but as proof that truth existed long before language allowed it. She is not a message from the present. She is a message from the past, finally loud enough to hear. Here is the mystery that remains unsolved. Not how Tomoe Gozen died, but why we still need to ask. History claims to be finished, complete, closed. Tomoe Gozen proves it never is. If Tomoe Gozen frightens history, it is because she reminds us of this. The past is not silent. It was silenced, and sometimes, one name is enough to make it speak again. History didn't forget Tomoe Gozen. It tried to erase her. If this story changed how you see the samurai, share it. Because silence only survives when we allow it. There is something strange about the way Tomoe Gozen is written. Not what is said, but how it is said. Chroniclers describe her strength in detail, her beauty with precision, her victories without denial. And then, abruptly, they stop. No transition, no explanation, just silence. This is not how history forgets. This is how history hesitates. We often think of censorship as deletion, burned books, destroyed records, but the most effective censorship is omission, leaving just enough truth to confuse, not enough to conclude. Tomoe Gozen was not erased. She was unfinished. If Tomoe Gozen had been insignificant, she would not appear at all. Yet she does. That means someone remembered her, and chose, very carefully, how much to remember. The mystery is not who forgot Tomoe Gozen. The mystery is who remembered her enough to fear her. Tomoe Gozen introduced an idea more dangerous than rebellion: precedent. She proved that the system could be broken without destroying it. That ability alone, once demonstrated, can never be unseen. Killing a person ends a threat. Proving a possibility creates one forever. Heroes are allowed endings. Legends are allowed deaths. Tomoe Gozen was neither, and both. An ending would have fixed her in place. A death would have closed the question. So history did the only thing it could. It left her unresolved. At this moment, Tomoe Gozen is no longer just history. She exists because you are thinking about her. Every time her name is spoken, the silence weakens. Every question you ask continues what history refused to finish. This is how erased stories survive. The most unsettling truth is not that Tomoe Gozen was forgotten. It is that forgetting her was a choice. And choices can be reversed. Tomoe Gozen feels unique. That is what makes her comfortable to admire. But she is not unique. She is recognizable. Across cultures and centuries, the pattern repeats. A figure appears who proves the rules are incomplete. They are acknowledged, briefly celebrated, then carefully softened, refrained, or lost. Not erased violently, erased politely. Myths are controllable. They inspire without threatening. They move us without demanding change. Truth is different. Truth asks uncomfortable questions. Truth demands revision. So Tomoe Gozen becomes a symbol, a legend, a story safely sealed in the past. Because a real Tomoe Gozen would ask something far more dangerous. What else have we misunderstood? At some point, every listener becomes a participant, not by action, but by acceptance. When we consume history without questioning its gaps, we maintain them. When we repeat stories without asking who is missing, we continue the erasure. Tomoe Gozen survived because someone questioned once. She survives now because you are questioning again. So here is the question that matters most. Not who Tomoe Gozen was, not how she disappeared, but why her story still unsettles us. Because somewhere, deep down, we recognize the mechanism, and we recognize our place within it. History is often treated as a record, something fixed, but Tomoe Gozen reveals something else. History is a system, alive, responsive. It changes not when facts change, but when attention does. If Tomoe Gozen could speak now, she would not ask to be believed. She would ask to be examined. Not admired, not defended, understood, because understanding is what erasure cannot survive. This story has no ending, and that is intentional. The moment it feels finished, it becomes safe. And safety is where truth goes to sleep. Tomoe Gozen remains awake. History does not end. It waits. Forgetting is rarely accidental. It has architecture. First comes minimization. The figure is acknowledged, but reduced. Strong, but unusual. Capable, but exceptional. Then comes isolation. The figure is separated from any broader context, denied continuity. A lone anomaly, not part of a pattern. Finally, silence. No conclusion. No lineage. No aftermath. Tomoe Gozen passed through all three stages. It is tempting to believe Tomoe Gozen was suppressed because she was strong. That explanation is comfortable, but strength alone has never been enough to erase someone. History is full of powerful figures, remembered precisely because they were dangerous. The true threat was coherence. She made sense. Her presence did not require myth. It required revision. To fully accept Tomoe Gozen, medieval society would have had to confront a painful realization. That their hierarchy was not inevitable. That their exclusions were choices. This realization is expensive. Psychologically, socially, politically. Erasure is cheaper. Modern audiences often want Tomoe Gozen to inspire, to empower, to uplift, but inspiration can be another form of containment, a way to admire without engaging. Tomoe Gozen does not ask to inspire. She demands confrontation. Every documentary wants an ending. a summary, a resolution. But closure is a luxury history cannot always afford. Some truths remain dangerous precisely because they are unfinished. Tomoe Gozen belongs to that category. At a certain point, absence stops being a gap. It becomes data. When records vanish selectively, patterns emerge. And patterns tell stories louder than documents. Tomoe Gozen's absence speaks with precision. Knowledge is not neutral. It changes the knower. To truly understand Tomoe Gozen is to lose certain comforts. About history, about systems, about fairness. That loss is irreversible. Simple stories spread easily. Complex ones endure. Tomoe Gozen resists simplification. Every attempt to reduce her creates friction. Every clean narrative leaves residue. That resistance is the story. To retell Tomoe Gozen's story is not an act of preservation. It is an act of risk. Because every retelling forces a choice. Comfort or accuracy, myth or inquiry. This video has chosen inquiry. Tomoe Gozen was real, but more importantly, the system that struggled to contain her is still real. That is why this story matters. Not as memory, but as diagnosis. Tomoe Gozen does not belong to the past. She belongs to the unanswered. Thank you for watching. Japan's history still hides countless secrets and we're just getting started. If you want to uncover more mysteries of samurai, ninja, and ancient Japan, subscribe and join us on this journey through time.